Central Queensland's industrial growth has been rapid and relentless, with workers from around the world rushing to the area for big dollars. But not everyone is getting rich from the resources boom. In Gladstone, there's a lack of affordable housing and the cost of living is soaring, highlighting the social downfalls of an economic windfall. In a moment, we'll hear from the Housing Minister about his plans to address the problem. But first, Marlena Wapp reports on Gladstone's housing squeeze.
Day by day, Central Queensland is growing. Fortunes are being made from mining, and the liquefied natural gas industry is fast developing on the coastline. Workers not just from Australia but from around the world are moving here, attracted by the pay that's on offer.
In some of those regions, the nature of the community is changing. It's moving from a close-knit, family-orientated community into a much more city-like environment, and it's happening rapidly.
Economic growth in this case is not taking everyone along for the ride.
We've had many people that have come just to say that they're leaving town, they've got no option.
The population boom has drained the housing rental market and the cost of living is soaring.
We were struggling to make ends meet. It was causing a lot of emotional and financial strain on ourselves. Sharice has got a sleepover at the school.
In Gladstone, away from noisy construction sites, the Woods family run a large household of 6 children, including twin baby girls.
Well, we have 6 children in our house at the moment, 4 young boys and 2 beautiful little girls, ranging in age from 7 months through to 8. Go on the swing, I'm going to watch you.
Nathan Wood and his wife Janine moved to Gladstone nearly a decade ago.
Your turn.
He says the city's grown astronomically in the last few years, particularly because of the LNG industry.
It's brought a lot more people into Gladstone and put a lot more demand on what was probably already a limited resource.
In less than 2 years, the Woods' rent jumped from $370 a week to more than $800.
It has been hard. We were really struggling. We fortunately had a bit of a angel look after us, and we were able to get on the Department of Housing's list, and then Anglicare Community Rent found us a home with a subsidised rent.
Anglicare Central Queensland says this family's story is common across the region.
Our staff regularly have stories of people, families living in cars, sleeping in cars. They have stories of people who are living, particularly with the Queenslander homes, they're living underneath the Queenslander homes, and or they're living with friends, they're couch surfing. It's not just young people, you can have whole families doing this, living this lifestyle.
We're finding it difficult to get staff like teachers, police, firefighters, those emergency services staff. They're finding it difficult to remain in the region because of the rentals.
Liz Cunningham has championed the City of Gladstone very publicly since becoming the state member in 1995. She believes the Bligh Labor government did not invest enough in affordable housing. The suburb of Clinton was one initiative the previous government set up with the Urban Land Development Authority to house 700 people.
And they were classified as affordable housing developments, and in the scheme of things, the houses built there were generally below the general market. They were below that, but they weren't accessible for people on very modest incomes.
The new LNP government says so far LNG companies have spent more than $20 million in housing initiatives and provided nearly 80 homes for workers in Gladstone.
The problem with Gladstone now, the rental prices have gone so far through the roof that we're seeing an enormous amount of spin-off here. And if you go to the last figures released from the REOQ, we now have in Rockhampton the tightest rental market in Queensland.
Liz Cunningham says hard-working residents who don't have jobs with mining and LNG companies will keep leaving Gladstone unless more houses are available.
We need, and still do, a massive investment in social housing to be able to keep those people in the town. They've been the backbone of the Gladstone region for a long time, in sporting clubs, in working in hospitals, working with aged care and children. All of those people are on relatively modest incomes and they can't manage the $500 and $600 a week in rent that we're now facing. It's those that we need to keep because they're brilliant people, they're wonderful contributors to the community. They just can't afford to stay, and I think that's tragic.
Marlena Wap reporting from Gladstone.